All right. Hello, everyone. Jeff Freeman here with the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. And we also have co-host Jack Campbell. Jack, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, Jeff. Doing real well. Hello, everybody.
Yes, yeah, it's a good evening over here. So I tell you what, it was a little humid up here tonight. We're supposed to be dipping down into the more normal temperatures coming up here in the
We're having
60s.
a fall this weekend here.
Yeah, this weekend. Exactly right. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Wow, we got quite a crew here already. Let's see. We got Sharon here. Hi, Sharon. Janet's here with us. Pat. Hi, Pat. Mary
Mary
Glenn.
Bennett Glenn, welcome. I don't remember
Yeah.
that name. Maybe
Yeah,
from
I'm not
phone.
recognizing that name. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. Barbara's
Dan's
here,
here.
Jan, of course, and Linda out there working hard as always. Let's see, Sharon's here. Pam Block. Hi, Pam. How you doing? Who we got over? Oh, Sherry and Sherry Carney's here. Yeah, and I wanted to
Janet
talk
has
about
now a
that real quick
granddaughter.
too.
Congratulations.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to mention that real quick too while we're here, and mentioning Sherry and you also have Dale Carney, and they're doing the fundraiser. Remember that this is the fundraiser for Christmas Daddies. That is the telethon and stuff, the fundraiser for kids for Christmas up in the Nova Scotia area. And so we're doing that fundraiser. Remember about the hat giveaway and all that. If you haven't heard about that, we definitely have some links in our group page about that. And a little bit of an update right now, they are currently at $12,415, which is doing really, really well. So, yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, I okay. Little Linda's giving me some, or Linda's giving me some information there. So they got about 3,000 to go. They're trying to get to a total of 15,000, and they're getting so close. They got about a month, a little bit over a month to go. But thank you, all of you who have helped on that. And remember that every $5 donation to this fundraiser gets you a chance and entry to win one of the two hats that have been signed by just about everybody in the cast of The Curse of Oak Island. There's a yellow one and I think it's like a lavender, isn't it, or something?
Lavender or pink
Or a
or
purplish color, but yeah, they're pictures of them in our group page, and but anyway, so there's a link there where you can donate if you'd like to do so. Yes, and Dale says thank you everyone for donating so far. Those of us that have, and those of you who have, they really appreciate that very much, and they will be giving a check to the during the telethon. I guess is my understanding. When the telethon is on December 4th, December
fourth.
4th, I think it is. And it
Because
runs
we're
like
doing
7
November
hours or so.
15th through drawing,
And remember
correct?
that every bit of the money goes to the charity. None of it goes through the Salvation Army, but it goes to the charity. They don't make use any money away from administration fees or anything like that. Yeah, it's December 4th. Thank you, Dale. Okay, so they're getting close. So if you haven't yet, or if you'd like to help a little bit more, feel free to do so. And like I said, we got the links up for that in our
And
group.
you're doing the November 15th. You're doing help
Yes,
with
the
the
giveaway
drawing.
for the hat, the drawing. Yeah, thank you, Dale, reminding me there. That the giveaway for the hat, we're going to be giving away one of the hats. Will be we're going to draw the name right here on November 15th. It'll be sometime in the evening, probably like 6, 7 o'clock. We'll put the time out before we get to it, but let you guys know exactly when that's going to happen. And there will be a drawing for one of the hats. So somebody in, I won't say it's in our group. I don't know who all there, but somebody's going to win a hat. So hopefully it's me, but I even take the lavender one. I don't know. You get to choose, I guess. And the other one's going to get auctioned off at the show. So I wanted to give a shout out for the fundraiser. It is doing very well. And, but they would like to hit that 15,000. So whatever if you can, be great. Karen says, nice intro. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Indy's Antics is with us over there on the YouTube side. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys coming along. Who else we got over here? Karen Falbo. Yep. Let's see.
Paula Stein is here.
Yeah. Hi, Paula. And Kate is with us. Hi, Kate. How you doing? Let's see. Going through. Man, we got quite a crowd over here, and I probably missed some names over on the Facebook's over on this side, and YouTube's over here. Twitch is over here. Yeah, we simulcast on all three, so I got to try to keep them straight. And I wanted to let you know that we also have the phone number. The phone is on. It's all connected tonight. So I'm ready to go with the phone if you'd like to call in and talk about anything up and through season 8. Tonight, we're going to be talking about episodes number 17, which is staking their claim. I just lost Jack. Hey, Jack. We just lost Jack. Episode 17, which is staking their claim, and episode 18, which is cannon fodder. So we'll be covering those two tonight. And the guys are working hard in the, basically the money pit and the swamp going on with all of that. So that's good. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Linda. But the phone is on if you'd like to call and talk about it. We've had some really cool, things going on with Aaron Taylor coming on last week. Wasn't that cool? That was awesome. I really enjoyed having Aaron with us to help talk about the stuff that he was involved in episodes 15 and 16. That was really neat. And then we had James McQuiston called in. We had one of the guys, Brian, one of the Facebook. I don't know if Brian was in there's Jack is back. There
I
you are.
don't know what happened, but we went away for a minute.
Clicked on the wrong button or something. You just you were gone.
I was gone.
Yeah, and I don't like seeing my face that big on the screen, so don't do that anymore. It's kind of scary.
We're gonna try not to do that again.
Oh, you were gone. It's like boom, I'm all big on the screen. It's like, oh my goodness, scared me even. Like trick or treat or something, Halloween. Anyway, so that's the ones we're going to be talking about tonight. And as you well know, I got plenty of pictures to go through. But this has been fun going through and recapping season 8, getting ready for the start of season 9 finale. I was going to say finale, season premiere. I think we're what? 1, 2,
about 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Right? 3 weeks.
Thank
yeah.
you,
So today's the 13th. So we got 1, 2, 3 weeks from tonight, or last night. Did you watch last night's Drilling Down, Jack?
I did. Of course, it's not my favorite subject, the Templars, of course.
That's one of my favorite subjects. So,
and
sure.
I'm still kind of there. I'm not, I thank everybody because I got a haircut and everybody.
Oh yeah, you got some people jumping in about your haircut. That's really cool.
But I really enjoyed it because of the fines and what they did, and going back into season 2 and going back overseas to France and everything else.
Yep.
And getting a connection between the cross they found on the island and what they found on the wall over there. It's a nice connection.
That is very, very telling to me, that right there. So for sure. And then we saw our friend Gretchen Cornwell. She was on there for a few minutes. So that was cool to see her on there and talking about everything that she knows about Templars, which is a vast amount, obviously. So yeah, that was really cool. I'm really glad to see that one. So it's kind of neat to see these, and they're also doing the same thing. There's things we didn't see from season 8, finds we never saw on season 8,
and I enjoy that because it connects some of the dots that we didn't see.
Exactly. Hi, Jersey lady. She's with us tonight. Hi, how are you doing? So anyway, all right. So let's jump into it. So, and as you know, I love to show these pictures of the island from the air. And this one is especially fun because it's the winter or the fall scene with the color changes on everything in the trees. I wish the sun would have been shining. It might have been a little bit more colorful, but man, isn't that pretty? That's just awesome.
You can still see the various colors on there.
Yeah, I know. The yellows and the oranges. I just love that. Yeah. So I'm going to be traveling this weekend a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm going to take some pictures where I am going. I'm going to take some pictures and you're going to see some fall colors. So maybe I'll see what I can share on it, but we'll get some of that.
We don't have fall colors here yet. We haven't got there.
I'm going to be going a little further north than you. I'll wave as I go by again, Jack. As I'm driving by, I'll wave out the window. Hey, Jack.
Wave out the window. Where you're going, you should have fall colors.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Let's see. Linda said Gretchen didn't even know she was going to be on. She was surprised. Yeah, that was really neat. Yep, she's a good friend of the show.
I can't even remember what season that was from.
That would probably be 5 or 6. Ooh, Linda probably knows. Linda, what season was that? Does anybody know that for sure? I have forgotten now. Let's see here. All right, so okay. All right, anyway, let's jump into it. So here we are with good old Oak Island and the shot from the air. And then we jump right into the swamp. And the guys around here at the swamp, they're taking a look and they're showing this to and getting an assessment from. There's the guy standing up on the hill there with Craig and Billy and Rick, of course, and they're getting an assessment from our friend Terry DeVoe. Now, Terry's called into the show before. He hasn't been on the show, but he's called in. If you guys remember who Terry is, he is a historian and he has a lot of knowledge on this guy does of the area. And one of the things, oh my goodness, Dale, I got to stop for a second and say Dale said that somebody just donated $500.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. That's awesome. I don't know who that was, but if you're watching and you're one of the folks watching the show, thank you. Oh my goodness. But whoever that was, wow, that's fantastic. $500. My goodness. That's crazy. That's really
All
great.
for a good cause.
So that's really cool. All right. So, and Terry, if you guys remember who Terry was out looking at the Stone Road, but he is also a guy in earlier, and again, this goes way back to like season 3 or something. Terry was out there and they took him out to the Overton Stone. Gretchen was on season 6, episode 6. Thank you, Linda. And Terry took him out to the Overton Stone. Now, the Overton Stone was very special. If you guys remember, this particular stone had some carvings in it. And there was some debate as if they were how old they really were. But I mean, these things are really, really cool. And if you see there, you see the cross pate right there in a circle with the 4 dots on the 4 points. So that's really neat. And then over from that, you see a tobacco leaf, what we're saying is a tobacco leaf. And also a crescent moon is over here on the side. So what they were thinking this was, oh, that's right. He popped on for about 30 minutes. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. And he came on and he helped us talk about a few things. Great guy. We really like Terry. He's great, and we'd love to have him back for sure. We'll have to reach out to him, see if we can get him back to come back on the show. So they were thinking that this might have been something that would have commemorated the union between. Could it be the Templars, or the Scots that had something to do with the Templars and the Mi'kmaq, the First Nation peoples?
I was wondering, the Mi'kmaq was my first impression.
Right. And so, because you've got something that represents both parties here, So that's what they were talking about. This could have been something to show this meeting of the First Nation peoples, Mi'kmaqs, and also, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and also whoever they met that came over from Europe. Would it be the Templars? I don't know. Well, why would they have the cross pate if it wasn't? Well, and the 4 dots, which was really cool. Anyway, that's what Terry was doing back then. He was showing them that. Now he's showing them, he's getting his assessment of the Stone Road, in which he had said, Terry explains that the techniques used to build the road was from the 1500s or earlier. And there was possibly built by the Europeans. This is the same time period that the carvings of the Overton Stone was when he showed them in 2015. Okay. So he would know. And he said this is road consistent for the width, and everything would be consistent with.
And a 5-foot width is what he said was standard at that time.
Yeah. Carts and being pulled by oxen and things of that nature. So, yeah, really cool. So, yeah, Terry, a lot of good information there from Terry. So that's where they started off. From
Somebody
there,
on here just said it was the Portuguese.
Portuguese, yes.
I couldn't, me and my mouth couldn't get that one out.
Was that? Oh, it looks like.
I lost it.
Is that Indy? Okay, maybe I missed that. Is that Indy's Antics that donated the? Wow. Houston, Texas, Dave. Thank you. Wow.
We have great members, Jeff.
I'm telling you, we sure do. You guys are awesome. Every one of you people are awesome. Really are. Denise is here with us. Hi, Denise. Northern California. I've been up there a few times. North of Ukiah, way up in there, or I've covered that state from top to bottom a few times, but I don't know every area. But I tell you what, Northern California is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right. Over to the war room. So in the war room, they're gathering over here, and we've got Craig and Marty. And basically, Craig and Marty, Craig has given Marty an update on the drill program that's going on in the Money Pit at the time, and some of what they're finding. So he's got the map out there, and he's showing, giving Marty an update. And he's talking about this line that they're running across right here. Now they're doing these drill holes running across on this C line right here. You got your 1, 2, 3 across the top and your A, B, C, D down the side. They're basically following along the C line right here, which is where they're at. And they're following a tunnel. They're definitely hitting wood all along the way. Hi, Peggy. Peggy's here with us. Let's see. Yes, that's very true. Thank you, Pam, for reminding us. Friday the 13th is today, or not. Well, it's not Friday the 13th today. It's Wednesday, but today is the anniversary of October 13th, which was back then on that particular year in 1307 was
the attempted purge of the Templars.
Yes. So the Templars. So it's a good day to have a show and talk about the Templars. So anyway, all right, back to here. Next, they jump over to the lot 25, which is the Ball Foundation. And over on the lot 25, Rick and Gary are going to do a little metal detecting. Of course, Gary's going to do that. Rick's going to do the digging. So they get that started, and they find right off the bat, they find a copper coin that Gary calls an old greenie. And he said possibly from the 1730s, 1740s.
40s.
So he's really surprised and very happy to find that.
He said it was a penny, which I guess knowing the size of our pennies, that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I know. Huh? Well, copper, copper. The price of copper has gone up over the years, and they gotten smaller and smaller, I guess. But that's a British, I think, an old greenie. I think that was a British. I think he was thinking that was a British one. Yeah. And then, of course, they found this little doodad here that they were all stumped about for quite a while about just what this was. For those of you who haven't seen it, we'll let you wait a few minutes till you find out exactly what it was. But they were pretty surprised about this find initially. They were thinking that Gary was thinking that it was either a cane topper or a swagger, the end on a piece on a swagger stick or something like that. One of the like a riding crop that they, commander would put under his arm and go around and threaten the troops with or whatever. So they were thinking that's what this was initially. And if you can see, there's a crown right here and then a rose right above it, a crown and a rose. So that's what they found there. And they were really excited about that at first as they went along. And yeah, Gary was thinking that it could be Portuguese or English or something. From there, we jump over to the Money Pit. And in the Money Pit, that next morning, they've got the two that are generally there, Charles and Terry Matheson, and they're looking at samples from borehole BC4, that one right there. And basically, they're following this line along that C line right there, and they keep hitting wood, and they keep hitting wood right about Charles. Well, first of all, Charles says that they are 78 feet, and there was wood in the sample at 78 feet. They kept going down a little bit deeper, and they hit wood again at 87 feet.
That seems to be the number that they had all last year. It was 87, 88 feet.
Yep, exactly. And that's important because as they follow that line and they keep hitting that wood going along, what does that tell you? It tells you that it's a tunnel that they're following. I mean, it's pretty well proven that they're following a tunnel because they keep jumping over another 5 feet, hit it, 5 feet, hit it, 5 feet, hit it at about the same depth each time. Yeah, right around 87, 88 feet. So it has to be a tunnel or a very large chamber. But they weren't hitting anything as they went further down, but they were definitely hitting wood at the 87-foot level or 88 feet. Yep. Today in 1307, that's what Barbara said. Today in 1307, yep. The Knights Templar were rounded up, but some of them got away, didn't they? And they never found much
Portugal, some to Scotland, a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah. And the thing of it was is they all their vast treasure, only a very small amount of it was ever found. So what do you
Or
think
has ever
happened with
been
all
found,
that?
period, to this day.
Right, to this day. So where do you think it went? Could it be?
Could it be?
Could it be? All right. Next, we jump over to the swamp, or back to the swamp, I should say. We got Ian and Rick and Dr. Taylor and Miriam, of course. And they're over there working in the stone, following the stone pathway that was leading from the swamp as it came across the southeast corner and then turned. They're following up, and it's getting closer and closer, encroaching up where the house is and the main property of the Nolans as they go along here. Um, and then they find this section here when they took out the scoop with the excavator. They found this piece here, this orange. You see this orange layer right here, and then the dark underneath it. Now, Dr. Spooner and Aaron both agree that this was a burn area. This was a burn event that took place right here over a sustained period of time. So, would indicate some sort of a fire pit, a cook area, or something. Something definitely going on over a longer period of time that would cause the color change right here in this area.
It's kind
So
of
they were,
interesting. It's almost like a carbon copy of Lot 15.
yep, yep. So yeah, that's pretty significant right there. Next, they jump over to the research center, and Gary and Marty are over here talking with Doug, and they're showing him the cane topper, or what they thought at the time was a cane topper, and how significant it was. There's another shot of it. And then we're talking about this emblem right here, and this is the emblem. It's an English, the rose and crown. So you got the rose and then the crown here. The rose and crown, an English symbol that dates to the War of Roses in 1485. Okay, so they were really trying to figure out what this thing was, and they were speculating that it had something to do, or a symbolism of using the same crown and the rose from here. We find out later that's wasn't the case, but anyway, we'll move along. So then you got Gary and Michael John over here, and they're checking out some of the spoils from the fire pit, and Gary gets a hit right off the bat. And there's the guy, there's everybody, all the Ian Spooner and Aaron and Miriam over there digging. They're like, hey, what are you guys up to? So they're coming over. And right off the bat, they get a hit on this little jewel right here. As soon as he pulled that out, and I saw this thing, when I took a look at this thing, I was seeing this section of it inside here that was kind of concave. To me, as soon as I saw it, I'm thinking that's an outer bearing housing or race of a bearing, the outer housing of a bearing. Yeah, it is. Jersey, you say it's nice to see Michael John. Yeah. Did you notice how during the season, what his name? I don't know if I captured it here. No, I didn't. But you notice how it said before, it said he was working for Billy Gerhardt's company, but then it changed later in the season. It said treasure hunter underneath his name. Did you guys catch that? How it went along the season? Because he became a treasure hunter and still is to this day. But there they are working, and they find this thing, and I thought, it looked to me like a bearing. And then when you see the other side, how it's curved over like that, so that's what it was to me. It looked like the outer race of a bearing. And that would be like perfectly the size of an axle on a cart or something. Okay, Dale's going back to work. He said we are at 2,000 from the goal now. Since the show started, they've gone from 3,000 away to 2,000 away. So people are
Hey, I
great.
like that.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for donating. Have a great, you too, Dale. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank
And
you.
we
Thank you for
appreciate
doing
you.
a good cause.
Yep. That's awesome. $500, man. That's awesome. Oof. So anyway, so that was pretty cool little find that they had right there. And like I said, that sure seems like it would be off an axle of a cart or something. Then they jump over to the war room, and they are in here. They're getting ready to take a look at a few things. They got the group here, and Steven and Laird and Scott Barlow in there with Rick and Doug. And they also brought in some of the team is on Zoom call. And they've got Sarah McGinnis, and Sarah was the lady that was She's a historian, and she was from the
Fort.
fort. Yeah, the fort. She was up there at Fortress of Louisburg. And she actually took them around and showed them all around this fort when they were up there, and they got some interesting things that they saw when they were there. Some of the there's actually a tunnel that takes off and goes across one of these areas leading away from the fort that they weren't allowed to go into. I remember that too. They really wanted to go in there and have a look at it and see how it was constructed to see if it, get an idea of that sort of thing, but they didn't get to.
They saw one of the carts up there that would have been on the island too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So they did see some of the floor construction of in one of them. They saw like where the rocks were laid out and positioned just right to make a good flooring. They did catch that. But anyway, so that's where she was from. She's a historian and she works up there at the fort. Now she was brought in so they could have a look at. They've got a lot of artifacts in their museum, and they have cane toppers and things of that nature. So they wanted to compare what they had found with, and they sent her pictures of it and stuff. They wanted to compare it to what she has in the museum. And right off the bat, she was talking about how it really didn't compare. I'll go back to that for a second. It really didn't compare to, the rose and the crown didn't compare to anything that she had in the museum. So they got to look at it, and then they talked to Laird, and we love Laird. Laird's a good friend of the show. We like him a lot, but he's kind of he's the guy that bursts your bubble quite often, brings you down a notch or two to say, yeah. And his assessment when he looked at that thing is that Laird tells Sarah he thinks it's a lipstick cover off a lipstick holder. Wah wah wah. That put a damper on things, didn't it? So,
and you were right. It was a back alley in that tunnel up there at the fort that they couldn't go in.
oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. Thank you for that. Yeah, that was who said that?
That was Janet.
Janet. Thank you, Janet. Yeah. See, you got better memory than I do. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Yep, it was a bat colony in there. Hi, D Jones. D Jones is with us. Hi. Dream Crusher. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Linda called him a Dream Crusher. We got Sienna Giffen. Sienna Giffen. Yeah, amazing place, is it? I've never been there. You're talking about the fort right here. I'd love to go there.
I would love to go there too. I bet that would be interesting.
Yep. If I get to Nova Scotia, this is one of the places I'm definitely going to pay a visit to. Yes, you're right, Jan. Laird does keep them grounded. He really does. Everybody gets all excited about stuff, and then he comes along and explains to them just exactly what it is. Yeah.
Oh, Linda.
Oh, Linda said, yeah, if they'd have called me, I'd have shown them the four I have in the glass jar in my vanity. My mom loved that lipstick. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yep, that's what it turned out to be, a lipstick case. So that kind of put a damper on things. Yeah, you can't know. You're exactly right, Janet. We cannot blame Laird for doing his job. He needs to be there, and he needs to do. That's one of the reasons why he's there.
And it gives him direction also.
Right, and because of the permits, and because he's there on the behalf of the Nova Scotia, the province, to be there. So his role is very important, and also in telling them how it is, and giving his professional opinion on these things. So, and he does just that. Next, they jump over to Gary and Michael are still continuing to do some metal detecting over on the stone pathway, and they're going through the spoils that are over there. That they're as Billy is scraping these spoils off of the stones that are on the roadway. They're scraping it off, piling it up, and he's doing the metal detecting of that and around the area there. And next, he finds another spike. And this is very similar to the rosehead spike that was found in the spoils of C1 on the wash table by none other than Michael John. That's right there with him. When they were going through the wash table, he found a rosehead spike right there that is very similar to the one that Gary is finding here. Now, you would think about that. Why would this spike be in this particular area? It's not going to float there. So you're wondering what was constructed over here that's not there now that would have had this spike, putting it together. Um, oh, okay. All right. The $500 donation is not from our group. Okay. Um, so the spike is, significant, but yet why is it over here? That's just very interesting find, I think, that they came across when they keep finding these things. And you can tell that they're old because of the rose head and also from it squared off like that. Then so there it is there. And then, there's a couple of shots of some of the other guys that were there. Josh Ballard, he works for Gerhardt, and so does John Winters, works for Billy Gerhardt as well. And they're over there helping out, digging through the paved roadway. So wouldn't that be cool, though? I mentioned this before, but that'd be so cool to be an employee. Your boss is out there working on the island all the time, and probably because of COVID and things like that. I'm sure that things were a little slow, so they got to come and spend time working on the island. I mean, I'd do it for nothing. I'd do it for free. As long as I got a meal every now and
Just
then.
a unique experience for history part of it.
Yeah.
Say you were there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just like we were talking about those hats. Once they find the, some answers and find some treasure, those hats are going to be signed by all the cast members.
That's gold itself, Jeff.
Yep, I know. Truly. So then Marty finds a stake. Finally, he finds he gets in on the action, finding the stake. And these stakes were being used to stake off the edge. They put the survey stakes in first, or the stakes along, and then that would tell them where to follow those stakes as building the road. And that's what they were for. I just hit my button.
I kind of remember his quote was it like the steak I had last night or something like that?
Yeah, not as good as the steak I had for dinner last night. But a steak nonetheless. And then what did Aaron Taylor say? He said, "I got no beef about that." The comedian Aaron Taylor, I got no beef about that. I still laugh about that when I was watching.
You gotta go. You would think you'd have to go a little bit wacky after a while there, after a long day.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the neat thing about and you saw it with and Aaron talked about it when he was here with us last Saturday. He mentioned that over the course of time of being out there and working on this and being in front of the cameras, for a while you were very, you were all, keyed up about, being in front of cameras or whatever. But you just do your thing, say whatever you say, just do your thing. We're not going to make you look like a fool in front of 3 or 4 million people. Don't worry about that. But yeah, they all became very natural. Even Miriam and Liz and everybody, they just all they all do a great job. And it wouldn't be the same, without them. So you've got that. Then we jump over into episode number 18, which is cannon fodder. Episode 18 opens up initially. You got Marty up in the excavator this time. This is the big swamp excavator that he's operating right here. And he's good with these things. He's got a good touch with them. And lo and behold, Aaron finds another stake. And they found a bunch of these all within a certain area. And as we go along here, we're going to get some dating on these because they did get a date from C14 testing. Let's see. Why wasn't Aaron on the island this year?
He did not say.
Nope. He's got a lot going on though, and especially his Cuban project. So here they are, even Marty down here digging away with a shovel. That had to be one of the worst places possible to dig, to get in there and be digging in this muck and mud and the roots and the rocks and everything else. And he talked about that a little bit for sure. What a kind of and the smell. Aaron talked about that too, about the smell of the island. He said you just can't get it until you've you smell that. Yeah, indeed. Rick shows up and they give him a little assessment of what's going on there and show him they started to believe that the road is turning in either going into a couple different directions, because they hopped over that little if I had an aerial view, I'd show you real quick, and I probably will. Maybe I'll show that when I come to it. But when they looked down at it, they had like right there at the back of the area from Nolan's property that's been mowed. They're coming right up to the backside of it there, and you can see they hopped over this little hill on the other side, which is heading towards the eye of the swamp, and they kind of dug through that hill, and they found that there's actually some stone paving over there as well. This would be north of the stone paving that they found in season 7 that was dated 1220. So this is all connected. All of this is connected somehow. And so they're finding that part of it is turning and maybe heading up into the uplands, which would be to the south of Nolan's, the area that's, mowed and all
Right.
that, turning and heading that way. And also a portion of it that looks like it's heading over to the eye of the swamp. And that's what this artist rendition here is. So you got this part of it turning here and heading uplands a little bit, kind of turning and heading towards lot 15 over toward and angling towards the money pit. And then you've got this section that's going over here, heading towards the eye of the swamp area. And there was a picture I had of, it was an aerial shot looking at these guys working. But one of the aerial shots, and I had it in last week and I forgot to show it, but it shows the swamp excavator over working on the other side of the eye of the swamp. They never showed us that during the season. On season 8, they never showed us what that excavator was doing working over there. It was the swamp excavator. And we were wondering just exactly what was it doing over there and what did they find?
Because not only was it the eye of the swamp, that's also where the anomaly is in that area also.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't think I have a I don't think I have a good picture of it. Well, it kind of shows here that you can see it here, but that's it. It was way over back here. I'll see if I've got a better picture. I'll try to show you later. But it was on the other side of the eye of the swamp, on the north side, working over there. So really cool. So back over to the money pit area, and let's see where am I at here. Okay. So, and they're working borehole C3 now, and they're working along that line, along the C line, and they're heading towards I guess that would be the east, or west. I'm sorry, heading west along that C line there, and they came across some more finds here. Let's see. As they begin to check the core from the 59 to 69 feet, Terry tells Charles that they have drilled 5 holes. And they've hit wood every single time on the previous 5 holes. Now they're on the 6th hole. And what they're hoping is that they're eventually going to follow this tunnel along, and hit the money pit or the chapel vault is what they're hoping for, which they think was encased in concrete, like this picture shows here, and punch a hole down through it, and get into it. Hey, robot's here. How you doing? Glad you're here with us. So that's what they're hoping for. And again, right about 86 and a half feet, they hit wood again. Now, this is the 6th hole in a row following that 87 to 88 foot depth that they're hitting wood. And I believe each time they do this, you see them, if you watch, Terry takes out a chunk of it and he bags it so they can get some dating on this thing. And I don't think we got any dating back in this particular episode, if I remember correctly. They did on the
1648.
Was it?
Was the dates, yeah. Right above the 86.5 feet.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes, they did. Thank you for pointing that out, Jack. Yeah, in the past 2 weeks, the team has hit wood they believe to be a tunnel containing wood that dates to 1648. Now, you know that the money pit was discovered in 1795 by McGinnis, Vaughan, and Smith. So 1648, that's not searcher wood.
No.
That's not searcher tunnel wood. That has to be from the original depositors.
And it's a straight tunnel. I mean,
and it's a tunnel that you're following. So is it a tunnel going into the money pit or coming out of it? Are they as they follow it to the west, are they following it towards the money pit? Or are they going away from the money pit? That's what they're trying to figure out. So that's really key. And you think about the 90-foot stone. So I mean, could it be a flood tunnel? I wouldn't think so, because they're not coming up with, there was a lot of water. You see the water just pumping out of every time they pull up a core, water's just flowing out of those pipes in the bags and everything. But this is really cool, because that's why they're doing this. That's why they're drilling out here, is they're trying to nail down exactly where the money pit is so they can do a big dig. So, but they're following a tunnel all about the same level. It is very, very significant. Everybody said, "Oh, why do they keep finding wood? Oh my gosh, I'm tired of finding wood." But it's telling that story. David is with us tonight. Hi, Dave. How you doing? Glad you're here. Hello from
Mark
Washington,
is here.
Washington State or Washington D.C. Which is Washington State?
Jeff Segura is here.
Jeff, cheer. How you doing, Jeff?
Denise, Madrid.
Denise.
Madrid.
Hi, Denise. Marcy. Hello, everybody. Wow. Maryland's here. Wow, a bunch of people just joined in. Glad you guys are here. Thank you for coming by. So, again, it is very significant, this wood. And if it's dating at 1648, I mean, that's over 100, almost 150 years before the discovery of the money pit. Washington State. All right, cool. That's awesome. So it is significant, but we need to find out, are they heading to or coming from the money pit as they follow this along? Rick shows up and they're showing Rick this, and you can see there's Terry bagging it so they can go and get it dated. So he's bagging it, and Rick tells him, keep on digging, or keep on drilling. Rick agrees that it is a tunnel and they have to follow it because they need to know its relationship to the money pit. Rick tells them to keep on drilling. Indeed. And this is where I took my map. I made a copy of a map that Linda got for me. This is my photocopy of it. And I was showing you, here's your 1, 2, 3, 4 across the top and your A, B, C, D down the side. And this is that C line that they're following. So they did C6, 87.5, they hit wood. And they got C5, 87.5, they hit wood. And C4, I didn't write down for some reason. And then C3, they did BC3 right here. They did C3, 87 foot, they hit wood. So they're following this C line across here, and they're hitting wood every single time. So that's not a coincidence. It just isn't. Now, not my maps like that are not near as good as what Deidre White's maps are from Could It Be Okan podcast. But anyway, okay, this is what I wanted to show about the one of the pictures. This is that shot where they're working over here. Here's the Nolan property where the grass is kept short and whatnot up here, and they're getting closer and closer and closer to it as they work their way along over here. But they kind of jumped over this. They were following a road up here, then they jumped over here, and they're finding that there was actually some some road, some of the stone road over here on this side as well as turning up and going up this way into the uplands. Okay. But this is what I wanted to point out. You see the tracks right here and how they go over here to this area north and northwest of the eye of the swamp. What were they looking for over there? We don't know. They never showed us, did they?
And all these boulders, I remember Rick saying they were coming from a beach. Where were they coming from? Were they coming from a dig?
Right.
I mean, he was pretty adamant that it was not coming from the beach, or we wouldn't have anything on the beach right now.
Exactly. Even the boulderless beach is not going to give you as many stones as what they found on this paved roadway. So where did they get all
this? Not as many roads that are there anyhow.
No, there is a lot of stone in here. And as Ian, and you just pointed this out, as Ian Spooner said, there were a lot of them that were on the top surface were all about the same general size, So where did they get them all from? Where did they come from? And I was going to say a ton of stone. Pretty funny, huh? That's a lot of stones.
That's a lot of stone.
And where did they come from? So that'd be an interesting thing in itself to figure out where they came from. Where were they finding all these things? Interesting. Let's see. I wonder if they saved footage from last season just in case of COVID. Let's see here. Somebody said something I wanted to key in on too, and I wanted to go back to it. Oh, Barbara Duncan was saying the bone fragments were from that area as well, right? C1, I think. I think they were C1. The time period just after the Renaissance. Washington. Oh, okay. Washington State. Yeah. Looking back on this a little bit. I know I missed some of the stuff, folks. I don't mean to miss all the stuff you're talking about over here. I try to do my best to keep up with it because that's why we love doing the show. Is because I want to interact with everybody. And I know that I get talking and I forget to look over here and see what everybody's talking about.
Robert Duncan
Um,
has a good point that she thinks the swamp pie contained a great deal of mercury. That would be interesting.
I have they, I don't know if they've tested for that. I thought they,
I don't know. She says, I think.
yeah. Yep. Interesting. Yeah. Um,
Especially when you think of the Chapel Vault
mm-hmm.
would have mercury in it because of the paper.
Yep. Yep. To save paper, right? Or any manuscripts and things of that nature, books or whatever. Maryland says they are hiding the intriguing eye from us. Yeah, I think so. And that's well, I'm just curious what they were digging over here. What was going on over here in this spot right here? Yeah,
I wonder if they had a permit issue there, Jeff.
right here, and that's what they were doing. And what did they find? It's filled with water, whatever it was over there. That's where the spring. Maybe that's where the spring is. That could be from the natural spring because you see the spring, the water comes across and the spring and it just flows its way right down through here all the time and it can't be stopped. So wondering just exactly where that's coming from. But anyway, they got Rick and David Fernitti over here. And so they're working this spot and they come across, well, he called it mottled clay. It's the blue clay. They came across a significant amount of it all in this one area right here in that same, this is where they were working right here. And they came across this mottled clay, this blue clay. Now we know the blue clay, there's a whole bunch of it over here in the eye of the swamp right here. There's a ring of stone, big stone down there, a ring of stones and a lot of blue clay, which I keep saying is a plug. They're using it for a plug. And that's why the eye of the swamp doesn't grow anything. And that's all because it's not going to grow very well in that clay. So there's a lot of clay there. And also that when the spring runs through here, it collects that water and and it doesn't sink down, it doesn't even, sink into the ground through the soil. So it just runs off. But that blue clay is there. And now they found a bunch over here. And there it is there. And he found several chunks of it. So that's pretty interesting. So why would it be over there? I mean, is it just simply like Ian Spooner was saying that they were mining the blue clay from the Ida Swamp, and then this is another place where it just happens to be some blue clay? Or were they transporting it from the eye? If that road definitely, if it splits and part of it goes into the uplands and part of it heads over to the eye of the swamp, were they transporting it to or from the eye of the swamp? If it was a place where they were mining it out from and they were bringing it out of there, and some fell off the cart right in this spot, maybe the cart fell over or was damaged or whatever, and they spilled some. They didn't get it all back in there, and that's why Rick found it. Or is it going to that area and they're using it to seal up like a plug, like I want to believe, because I think that swamp is pull the plug. I don't know. So why was it here? It makes you wonder. And so as always with Oak Island, there's more questions than we get answers for sure.
For every answer, you get two questions.
Exactly. Yep. Uh, Thanks for pointing to it, Jeff. I'm not sure what that is. Are you referring to? Excuse me. Let's see. Oh man, I've missed a bunch of comments went by over here. Can you show? Oh, Marilyn said, "Can you show us where the eye is approximately again?" I think the eye contained a great deal of mercury. Yeah. Oh, that's your question. Yep, you brought that up. I found bone fragments were probably from Ethiopia. That was Marcy. I think one of them was European. One of them was
Middle East.
the Middle East, Middle Eastern. And I think somebody was saying that one was from a woman. Those bone fragments found on there. Okay. Rick said it was not ballast. Most of the stones were from the money pit area and other spoils. They did test
So
it.
as they were digging, they were getting stone out then. They must.
Yeah. for sure. Yep. Rick mentioned mercury was in the broken jars. Um, they had mercury in them. Yep, that's true. I do remember that. Trace amounts, but not a huge amount, Linda said. Um, yep. The Mayans were interested in blue clay. That's very true, Marcia. Yes, that's very true because they talked about that. They used it for their coloring of their decoration and whatnot. They liked that blue clay. That was brought up on the show. um, let's see. Yeah, the vapor isn't safe. Sure. Let's see. Part of the receipt for their blue color. Yeah, that's right. Part of receipt for their blue color. The Mayans. Yep. Yes. Janet's on board with me. They were putting clay into the eye of the swamp. Thank you. You and I are on the same page, Janet. I think so too. I think that's exactly what they were doing. So, okay, now they jump over to lot 15 near the pine tar kiln, and there's a mound over there. There's a big mound of dirt, and they wanted to start, digging into this mound of dirt and find out exactly what was in this thing, right? So they get Michael John over here and his expertise in the excavator. Gary and David Fernetti over there getting ready to look and see what they find in this mound of dirt. So, and they're right along. It's lot 15. It's right along, like right in here, along this, seemingly this line that's going between the Nolan's Peninsula over here, or the flat stone paved way that they found here in season 7, and the Money Pit. So they're right along here in lot 15, and they're digging in this mound. So right off the bat, they're digging in the mound. They took a few scoops out of it, and Gary actually gets a hit in a flat area, or in the area just next to the mound. So everything they're digging out of the mound, they don't, at least we didn't know about them finding anything, but he gets a hit in the dirt next to the mound. And so he has Michael John come over and take a scoop out. They get the scoop out and they find this large piece of metal. They dig this up. And they're like, what in the heck is this? It looks like it's got a big curve on the end of this large piece of iron. Boy, talking too much tonight. I know I talked too much.
That was that was the old mound where they originally thought maybe a serpent mound, and then they decided that wasn't going to be, that wasn't a serpent mound.
Yeah, well, that was up on the north side of it. Yeah, that's not where they're at here. This is a different. They thought this was like a trash heap or a trash mound or some sort of something. I forget what they actually called it, but this is further south in lot 15. But you see this pile of dirt back here behind him. I mean, yeah, it's pretty significant, these piles of dirt around here. I think I'd be all into all of them because you never know what you're going to find. But anyway, they find this piece of steel here, and as you see this rounded section on the end of it, it's curved up, and it's got like I think he called it a heel, or like a boot on the end of it. He was, just baffled at what it could be. As they go along, they find a couple more. And then Michael John jumps out of the excavator because he wants to get a look at that. And I remember when he handed it to Dave Fernetti, and he handed it over, he says, feel this thing. And Dave went, whoa. He felt how heavy it was. I mean, it was heavy iron. That gives it age as well. Puts it back quite a few years. Yep, you're right, Karen.
Yeah.
So they found a total of 3 pieces. But before we get to that, they're going to take them over to Carmen here in just a minute and get them looked at. Before they go there, they jump back to the war room. And in this war room scene here, they are actually going to get a C14 carbon date of the 2 stakes that was found by Aaron and by Marty Lagina. They're going to get the C14 dating on them. And what was interesting about these 2 stakes, they found like 3 or 4 of them all within like 10 feet of each other in this 10-foot area, right? And they took 2 of them and they went and sent them off for C14 dating. And then you get Craig Tester on the screen up here. Craig is up there on the screen, and they're looking at these things, and Craig gives them the dates. He's the date guy. So the first stake, and I don't know which one is the first one, which one's the second one. I can't tell by looking at the pictures here. What
the first stake was 1719 to 1826.
Yeah, 1719 to 1826. So could be, 1795 was the date that the money pit was found. So it could very well have been before the money pit. Now, 1826 could be after if it's on the tail on that end of the date range. But more likely, there's more date before 1795 than after. So it's very likely that it was before 1795. But the other one dated even older. That one was 1636 to 1684. So 150 years approximately before the finding of the money pit. So that tells you that the stone road was built, at least part of it, or the first part of it was built before they ever found the money pit. So that's pretty oh, okay.
Is it
I was just reading a note from that's pretty significant, is it not?
is it two
Um,
different nations? Is the question.
yeah, and that's something that you think about that. That's something that Aaron talked about. He had mentioned that it's very likely that because of the things that they're finding, that the road had been built and then worked on. Um, that's true. Linda just pointed out something very important that the C14 dating is from the date the tree was cut down or grew, not from the date it was put in the ground. Okay, so that could have a lot to do with it too. So that could be why they are closer together, so far apart in age because the trees were different age that were used, and they could have both been relatively closer, when they were put into the ground, um, and used as markers along the way. So good point there. Thank you. Um, but he talked about the fact that more than one occupation, so the occupants that used the road, it could have been more than one. He did talk, if you remember correct, or remember back when he was talking about the original piece of the road that they found in season 8 that went from the road that goes around the bottom of the swamp up to the edge of the uplands, that 70-foot long section right there, how it had got swayed. It got sunk down in the middle of it, and they added more stone in later. Now, did that happen from the original people that built it, or did somebody else come along later and go, hey, look, this is kind of a cool little area we can use for a dock, but the road needs to be built back up. Let's build it back up. And the stones were smaller that were used to flatten it back out again, and that when it was concave, and they used the smaller stones to make it flat again. So does that mean that there were different peoples? Was it originally, from the French, and then the British came along and added to it? It's possible. But all this was taking place prior to the finding of the money pit. So, yeah. Um, yeah. I was just reading some of the notes here. So, you're right. Barbara Duncan said the road was built and rebuilt.
Rebuilt.
I think you're right. And that's kind of what Aaron was alluding to. And he would know because he spent his entire summer pretty much working on that road. So him and Miriam would be the best authorities on what really took place there, would they not? And that's what his assessment was that it was built and then rebuilt later, at least portions of it, by another group of people years later. And that might be the reason for why the stakes had such a wide range of dates too. So, all right. But still interesting. 1719 to 1826 on one of them, and 1636 to 1684 on the other one. Very significant. One thing I wanted to point out, and I grabbed this picture here. This is the artist rendition picture of, the ship that they said was in the middle, which most people are saying now that they don't think it ever was two islands. It was always a swampy area of some sorts. But over on the edge where they found the original pave area coming from the road. So the road of actually it'd be further down, but the road going from side to side would be down and curving or down here. And they found this, the 20-foot wide, or the section of road that's 70 feet long. So I wanted to show this picture. This is how it would have been used. So you have the road here like this, that the stone is there, and you have a dock that would have been built, or a wharf that would have been built that would have extended out into the water. and then the wharf would come out and end, and then you'd have the stone road for your carts. So your carts would come up to here. You'd offload the boats onto the carts, and then off the oxen would go pulling them. So this was the way it would look uh, if we could see it built now. And we'll get back to the road in, I think I got right here. So this picture here, this would be the stone, obviously, that's here. And then the wharf would have been off this way, back behind where the gentlemen are standing, Rick and Craig and Terry DeVoe and Billy are standing. The wharf would have been over here. So the stone road here, and then you would pull the boats up to the end of the dock, offload them onto the carts. Carts would go off and then head off in this direction. So, and you can see how far they had been. They hadn't even got that far. So this is an older picture that they used. Here we are in episode 18. So this was an old picture because they hadn't even made it very far yet when they brought Terry out to have a look at it. But that's where that goes. So that's what this is here. It would have been a dock that would have headed out into this area. And if you remember, Dr. Spooner said they found a squared area of stone anomaly when they did the scanning sonar when they were out in Tony Sampson's boat.
Tony Sampson's boat, yeah.
Right, which would have been in the ocean just on the other side of the road, out just a little ways into the ocean. So that would have hence again said, yes, there was some sort of dock that went out there, just like that other picture shows. So interesting stuff. So it's definitely used for some sort of a landing area for loading and unloading, or, unloading treasure or coal. We know coal was definitely there. They found that. Blue clay, don't know. If that was part of it. They didn't find any blue clay over here, but doesn't mean that wasn't part of it. So
Maryland has the swamp ever been blasted like the money pit has in the past? Didn't they did the whole swamp, didn't they, with one company?
They did the seismic testing, yes. They did the blasting caps.
Right.
And the seismic testing, and that's where they got the deal with there was an anomaly that they thought was like a ship.
Right.
But they didn't do any big explosions. So I don't know if you're talking about just the Maryland. Are you talking about the blasting caps for the seismic anomaly or seismic testing? And that the case of that would be yes. But like Linda says here, not dynamite for sure. They did it for seismic testing. Yes.
Yes.
Not like Dunfield or whoever blew up the that hole.
Blew up half the money pit area.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there was no big explosions that was ever recorded like that Dunfield did or anything like that with dynamite down in there. Kathleen says old wagon wheels had metal hoops. Ox had their shoes. I would be looking for marks on the road to measure the width of the wagons they would use to sleds or wooden runners. There's probably some if they would have made some marks in here for sure, but it'd be hard to determine, just what they were from. I think, possibly. Yeah, referring to Dunfield mostly. Yeah, Dunfield's blasting that he did was over in between Smith's Cove and the Money Pit, where
Right.
they blew up a big hole, and then whoever blew up the HO stone, that was just a tragedy that they did that.
Just a dumb move is really what
they showed that on the show last night. What's that, Jack?
Just a dumb move is what it comes out to be.
Absolutely. What a thing to do. I mean,
Farmer Duncan has the dynamite in the swamp, that would be a nasty smelling fall off. Boy, ever.
Oh, that would have been some nasty blowing that muck all over the island. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would have smelled really good, huh? I don't know. Santa says, how far out was the dock on the ocean side? Don't know. They don't know for sure because the remnants of that dock are pretty much all gone. So it's really hard to say, how far it went out. But they did see a square anomaly area out there. Yeah, Maryland. Yeah, Pam Block says, agree, a dumb move on that. So to blow up the HO stone. I mean, what else did that HO stone have on it besides the HO and then the dot, the square that was made out in the dots that were on it. What else was there? What else got blown away that could have been something important to note of who was there and what that stone was all about? I mean, just a stupid thing to do to blow that up. My goodness. Imagine the symbols that were destroyed. Yep, John, you're exactly right. Imagine the symbols that were blown up that were on the HO stone. Truly, truly sad. Yeah, good. Truly, it's good to be exploring the swamp, and because it's less disturbed. Yep, agreed. Definitely agreed on that.
Plus, the
Um,
mud holds things together. Doesn't disintegrate them.
right. Yeah, it's a great preservative. You're exactly right, Jack. They talked about that over the course of the season, how well the swamp, the muck preserved wood and gave them an opportunity to be able to look at these wood anomalies later on, like the piece of wood they found, the piece of deck railing they found um, later on, right at the end of the season, that we'll get to eventually here too. So yeah, artifacts lost for sure. Yep. Yep. Oh, that's true. They should look in the water for more pieces of the blown up stone. Yeah, that's true. There could be some pieces out there. I don't know, where was the HO stone sitting. Does anybody know exactly where that was? I don't recall if they talked about that. When they blew it up, where was it? Where was it? Was it down by the triangle, the stone triangle? Was it? I don't remember where it was. Who remembers where it was? I don't. Put that up in the post if you could tell. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I know. I just wish they wouldn't have done that. Okay. Trying to keep up with all the chat. I love it when you guys are chatting. I hate to miss it. Okay, let's move along. Next, they head out to the farm to go out and out to Centerville where Carmen is, and they want to get Carmen's assessment um, of the pieces of iron that they found, that Gary and Michael John and David Fernetti found. So they go out to see Carmen, and there's the pieces that they brought out to show him. Now, his assessment was, after he looked at it for a few and he got a good look at them, he said they were parts of a cannon. Now, some people scoffed at that right off the bat. They're like, "That's no way that that's parts of a cannon." And I thought about that, and believe me, we've had Carmen on, and I think Carmen is a very intelligent man, and he knows his stuff when it comes to this. Not only this, but oxen, because he wrote a book about the care and handling of oxen. But also the fact that he knows his iron, he knows his metalworking. So he had these pieces, and he got a good look at them, and they we don't know. Yeah, a signal cannon. That's what he said. He said they were parts of a signal cannon. So I went out and you guys, any of you guys can go out and do this. Just Google a signal cannon and see what you come up with. I did, and I got a couple pictures here that I found. Now you see these arms right here. These would be the two arms on either side connecting to your axles that run out to the back of where the shoe is in the back. Okay. So you got these longer pieces would be parts of that, right? And look at this next one. What do you see right there? Okay. What does that tell you? Now look back here. It's got the shoe right here on the bottom and the skid that bends up on the end, and the heavy duty, and it's kind of bent. It has a curvature to it. Look familiar? So I think Carmen is exactly right. I think it's part of a signal cannon. Now, a signal cannon wasn't used to, necessarily to blow holes in something, a ship or something like that, or a fortress wall or anything like that. But it was used as the name comes as, signal cannon. It was used to signal things, to signal ships at sea or whatever. Um, that's what its purpose was. So signal cannon for sure. But you see that you tell me, am I off base on this? Looking at that leg that Carmen says was the back end, the skid of a back of that would be dragged along off of a cannon. And when the cannon fired, it would move back a little bit from the concussion, the blast, and it would skid along a little bit. And that shoe, the little shoe at the bottom right here, would help keep it from going too far, dig into the ground a little bit. So there you have your curved piece. So I think Carmen's exactly right. What do you think, Jack?
I think so. And also remember that's the highest point on the island too.
Yep. Well, lot 15 and yeah, on the other end, but sure. And that would be a good place for a signal cannon, would be on the highest point of the island. To be able to signal. Now, Yeah, so that would be the side, Smith's Cove side. Ships would definitely want to come in that side, and also on the south, Isaac's Point area, too. But you're right. You're exactly right. A signal cannon. I think Carmen's exactly right. So, all right. So at the last part of the show, oh, and he said, I wanted to mention this too. He said early 1700s. Um, he thought it was English. So from the early 1700s, could have been. Says Oak Island could have been an observation post at that time because we know the military was there. We know the French were there. We know the English were there. The British. So um, signal cannons are small. Yes, they are. Jersey lady said they're small, and she's exactly right. They were not used, like I said, to punch holes in a ship or a fortress wall or anything like that. They were used for signaling, and that's what the size of this one was. Let's see, how big were the pieces? How big were the pieces? Are you talking about of the cannon? I can show the picture again real quick. I mean, these pieces here that are there are not that big, but you can tell they've been broken. He said they blew apart. As some sort of big force blew them apart.
The
So
one looked like about 3 feet, but I'm purely guessing.
yeah, this one here,
The top
this
one.
one it was probably at least 2 feet, about 2 feet long. This one, so pretty good and pretty heavy. Um, oh, thank you, Denise, appreciate that. Um, yeah, so yeah, thank you, John. John said that the signal cannon did not use cannonballs; it literally signaled with a blast. Yeah, so it wasn't like I said; it was not used to blow holes in anything with cannonballs. They did find some small ones. I guess it could be. Yeah, I don't know. I just speculate on it. It was used for signaling. Jenny's said, "Wonder what they were signaling, and how far the sound would reverberate. Could they have been lookouts for people on the mainland? Yes, it's possible. It's very possible, and that's kind of what Carmen said when he was talking about it. He said could have been an observation post. If they see a ship coming in, they could shoot the signal cannon and warn somebody on the mainland that there's a ship coming in. So that's great. Yes, exactly right. The rocks, Andy's Antics says the rocks at the highest point need to be moved to find the tunnel. I expect there still is. The spoils didn't come from downhill. They thought, yeah, we're not sure. I mean, you wouldn't think that they would take spoils like that and take them up to the highest point on the island. Let's take them up to the hardest place to get to and dump the spoils. I know they are spoils. There's it was pretty much. I think they pretty much concluded that they were spoils. But again, why would you take them up to the hardest place to get to dump them? I just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure.
It's not a good use of oxygen or anything else.
No,
I mean,
no, definitely not. We know that some of the spoils were taken towards Isaac's Point. They were hauled out that way. They haven't really told us a whole lot about those over there, but that was also talked about at some point on the island. That Isaac's Point was also a dumping ground for some of the spoils. Let's see. The scuttling of Spanish ships and to secure these ships. Yeah. Night arrivals in a port. The oxen wouldn't like it either, right? Why would you make the job harder? Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. Yep. Any guesses on who they were signaling? There had to be. If there's if it was an outpost on, it would have been a British post or a French post at some point. He said these were likely English. So if these were English and it was a signal cannon, then they were signaling other English somewhere on the island, probably on the mainland, somewhere over there, letting them know, or on one of the other islands. Who's to say there wasn't observation posts on some of the other islands? It'd be very neat to find out. Um, yeah, there is. There is a Fox family living in the spoils
We had
pile.
that on our page. Somebody had that on our page, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Doug had set was it Doug? Doug had set up a Fox cam. He set up a cam that was watching the den of the little family of foxes that was living in that spoils pile up there in lot 15 at the north side on the highest point of the island. That was really cool. Um, And they had that up for a while. There's actually somewhere out there. We had a link to it on our group page of the actual. You could see the foxes coming in and out of it, the little ones coming in and out of the little fox den, and they didn't disturb that when they were doing their excavation stuff. They stayed away from that. I don't think the foxes were living in it at the time, but who's to say they wouldn't come back and use it again? So they stayed away from it. As far as I know, they kept it. They left it alone. They certainly didn't want to disturb that. So, oh, okay. Yeah, it got posted about 10 days ago. It's on our Facebook group page. It's a YouTube link that was from Doug. It's the Fox Cam that's on YouTube. Linda just reminded me of that. Thank you, Linda. Let's see. Okay, so we got done with that. So we know that was a signal can. That's again. I wanted to find the rest of it. I want the barrel. Where was the barrel?
Maybe it's still there.
I know it could be, and they were doing their metal detecting and stuff, and they find all this, these pieces here. But where's the actual cannon barrel? I want the barrel. I'd love to have that piece. Maybe if it did explode, like they said, like Carmen said, it broke apart because it exploded. So maybe it's gone. I mean, maybe it's just simply.
Maybe Karen has it in her yard.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it's over in Karen's yard.
She got cannons going around her yard.
Yeah. Linda said it was blown apart. Smiley. Duh. Carmen said it blew up. So yeah, it blew. I guess the legs flew off. Right. Could you imagine who would have been around when that thing blew up?
Oh,
anybody standing around with that got shrapnel, dude. I'm telling you what. If you got hit with one of those pieces right there, you're dead. Or a broken leg, take your leg off.
Especially in that era where we didn't have modern medicine or anything.
Ooh. Yeah, you'd be looking for the blacksmith to cauterize that, gaping wound on your leg and your broken bones. That thing would tear you up. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it when that thing blew up like that. My goodness. Yeah. Karen's cannons were found by Fred under the water near the island, Sable Island. Hers are much larger than a signal cannon. Yes, that's very true. Yep. Yeah, that's major shrapnel. It sure is.
It sure is.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, that would kill. I mean, who's to say it didn't kill a few people? Man, oh man. Yeah. I was going to say, well, Samuel Ball, maybe he had a signal cannon. Maybe he had one there for something. I don't know. Maybe he would signal to the guys to, hey, come and get your cabbages here. Like his neon sign on this.
Two for one sale or whatever. Yeah, right.
Yeah, 2 blasts for a 2 for 1. Get your cabbages here. Cabbages here. Boom. Yeah.
I'm in a weird mood tonight, Jeff.
Oh, I think I am too. I'm tired. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep lately. Maybe that's what's wrong, Cabbage sale. Oh my goodness. All right. Anyway, so there's my cannon pictures that I showed last time. But yeah, again, it's pretty evident that that's what it was. Sauerkraut, come and get it.
Come and get it.
Oh my. Oh, I love you guys. You're all so funny. I wonder if the kegs were found where were for the gun. Oh, I don't know. And I asked Aaron about that, if they ever tested the wood on the keg top and bottom. They said one was probably for dry goods, the other one for more of a wet goods. But I wondered about that. Yeah. Okay. You're right. Yep. 9 minutes before the Lost Relics of the Knights Templar starts in 9 minutes. So I got to wrap it up because I want to watch that. I love that show. And Carl and Hamilton, they've been on the show. Love them guys. They're going to come back at the end of their season. We're going to have them back on our show. Carl,
it's a great show. You should watch it.
Light from the Lost Relics of the Knights Templar. Great guys. Love them to death. Really good friends of the show in our group. So we got to watch their show in now 8 minutes. So I got to wrap it up. Anyway, we're right at the end anyway. So they were over here in lot 13, and they were looking around here looking for a hit and doing some digging. And they weren't really, I think they found a blasting cap or something like that over here. But then they come over and they find a stone, a very large stone, a boulder with this metal sticking out of it, which was they brought Tom Nolan over, and Tom said, yeah, he remembers this one as being one of the stones that had a ring bolt in it, and his Fred had cut it off. And so this stone was on their property. It's on their property right over there in the uplands for where they're doing the stone roadway or following the stone roadway. And this was the one of the stones that now, why would you're not going to, I don't think you're going to take, if Fred would have moved this, I don't think he did, but why would the stone be sitting up there? What would you anchor to the ring bolt that's up here? What would you anchor way up there with that stone and that ring in it, that ring bolt in it? What would you be tying off and using to pull up this high? Would you be doing it? Using it as a tie point to pull, to I don't know. Well, think about that. What would it be doing? And now this is up on a higher area, and it's going up. They're following the road, the stone pathway coming up this way towards it. So if it was there, I mean, what would they be using it for? Just, let me know what you guys think about that. And what would you, I thought it was really neat this was up there, but again, and did you notice that when they first were up there, they were walking around by the tree, and Gary got a hit. Boop, boop. He got a hit with his metal detector, and then he while he's got the hit, and you hear it thing going off, he looks over and goes, "Ooh, look at this!" And then everything went to this, but they never went back and looked and dug up what he was talking about, or at least not on the show. So I don't know what they never. I wanted to see what it might have just been another blasting cap or something that he found, but again, I kind of wanted to know what it was that the what the hit that he had. But this is cool. But think about that. Why would this anchor stone? I'm calling it an anchor stone with an eye ring bolt in it. Why would it be up there? And what would they have used it for?
I don't. It's just out of place.
It is. It's out of place up there. If it was down lower, down by the water, you would think that they would tie a boat up to it. Boat comes up, you could tie it off, or something like that. But why up here on the hill? I just don't know. Anyway, folks, that was the end of it. That's all I got for pictures. And that wraps up episode 17 and 18. And we'll continue on with the other episodes coming up later. But these are a couple good ones. Where do I watch? Where do you watch the Lost Relics of the Knights Templar? They're on Discovery Channel. They're on Discovery Channel starting in 5 minutes on the Discovery. If you have the app, it's the app Discovery Go app. I have Comcast here, and I have both. I have Discovery Channel. I can watch it there, and I can also watch it. I can watch it on my iPad on the Discovery Go app. You can watch it there as well. So great show. We, like I said, Carl Cookson and Hamilton White, good friends of the show.
Great people.
Yeah, they really are. They're great guys, having a great time, and they're season 2 of their show, and they're discovering stuff about the Knights Templar relics that they both have collected, mostly Hamilton's collection that he has come across. Some really cool stuff. And if you watched last week, they had Sean Williamson on, and Sean Williamson has been on our show. He's part of Team Templar North America, and he was on our show too. He's been on a couple times. So he was on their show last week. Did you guys catch that? Did you catch that?
I did.
Yeah. So that was Sean Williamson, the master sculptor and stonemason. He was on with Carl and Hamilton last week, and they were looking at that another one of the white chalices that he said was made on a lathe. So yeah, you should check it out. It's a good show. They've got a new lady on there that's doing some research for them and I've forgotten her name. I'm sorry. She's somebody will put it up. I've forgotten what her name was. So, but anyway, it's a good show, and I hope you guys check it out. Let Carl and Hamilton know on our page a bit what you thought of it. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for Jack and I here tonight. Thank you, Linda and Jan, for your hard work.
Thank you.
Appreciate you very, very much. And Brenda out there doing her maps and all that kind of good stuff. We love that too.
Thank you, Jeff.
And Jack, thanks for coming on as my co-host. And folks, we'll catch you next time right here on the Curse of Oak Island live stream. And if you're out on the YouTube side, please hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. And hit the notification bell so that you know about new content coming up. And give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you like the show, if it was good, if it was informative, if you had fun. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know about that too. That's kind of how we gauge how we're doing. is if by that and by the chat and everything else. So we really appreciate you guys very much coming here tonight. So have a great rest of your weekend coming up, and we will see you next time. Oh, don't forget, there's no show on Saturday. I'm going to be out of town this weekend. So we'll catch you next week. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.